Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to tell you a couple of stories. Some pretty unsettling, true accounts from the world of ride-sharing.
Yeah, we're looking at a transcript from a YouTube video, actually. It shares these really intense personal experiences, both from a passenger and a driver.
Right. And what we want to do is sort of unpack these stories, look at how things unfolded, the chilling details,
And maybe figure out what they tell us about the kind of dangers people might stumble into, whether they're using these services or driving for them.
Exactly. These aren't just made-up tales. They're real events. They really highlight how vulnerable you can feel and why awareness is just so critical.
Definitely. It's about stepping into a stranger's car or letting one into yours, really.
Okay, let's dive into that first account. This one's from the passenger side.
Right. So this person is telling the story.
Takes us back to 2014. They were using Uber a lot back then. Couldn't drive themselves because of a DUI charge. So this one night, they're leaving a bar. It's late, like between 1 and 2 a.m. And it's freezing cold outside. Just need to get home.
Makes sense. So they fire up the app, request an Uber.
And a driver named Alex pops up. Says he's nearby.
Okay.
But the narrator mentions, right away, the profile picture felt off. Older guy, no smile, kind of grayish goatee, black beanie, a bit creepy looking, they said.
First little flag, maybe?
Yeah. And the app says he's got a Chevy Malibu just a couple of miles out. Seems okay,
Standard enough.
So the car pulls up maybe 5 minutes later. It is a silver Chevy Malibu, but the narrator describes it as old, kind of ratty, maybe a 2003 model.
So not quite what was pictured, maybe, but still the right car.
Right. Bit of a letdown, but whatever it's called. They get in the back seat.
And the weirdness starts almost immediately.
Instantly. The driver didn't wave them over, didn't honk, just sat there. When they got in, no hello, didn't even look back. Just a quiet, where you headed to?
Oh, okay. Not very welcoming.
Not at all. So the narrator gives the address, but then, straight away, the driver starts going down Main Street, but the wrong way. Opposite direction of their house.
Oh, come on. That's mistake number one.
The big mistake. They pointed out, hey, my place is the other way.
And the driver.
He does turn at the next intersection, yeah. But instead of heading back towards the main roads, the ones that make sense, he turns into these quiet, dark, residential streets.
Okay, that's definitely strange. Did he have GPS up?
That's the other thing. The narrator noticed the driver didn't put the address into his phone, which is weird, right? Uber drivers always use GPS.
Always, yeah.
So the passenger gets suspicious, pulls out their own phone to run the GPS directions.
Smart move.
Then their phone says, turn left at the next street. They're watching the road, watching the driver.
And he just sails right past it.
Totally misses the turn. The passenger makes a gesture what the heck? The driver sees it in the mirror.
Uh-oh. What does he say?
He says, just gotta make a quick stop. Don't worry, I'll give you a discount.
A discount? For going the wrong way and making a random stop. That doesn't add up.
Not at all. And right after he says that, that's when the narrator spots it.
What?
A handgun. Just sticking out from the middle glove box area, right there next to the driver.
Okay, everything changes in that instant.
Totally. From uncomfortable to, sheer terror.
Yeah.
Even though they'd been drinking, the narrator said it was like a splash of cold water, suddenly crystal clear that this was bad. Really bad.
You'd sober up fast, and your mind starts racing, thinking, how do I get out?
Exactly. They described waiting for the next red light, trying the door handle, really quietly. It wouldn't open. The child lock was on.
Wow. That's horrifying. That's intentional. That immediately removes your escape route. The car is now a trap.
Yeah, the narrator said their heart just started pounding. They realized they were being driven way off course, maybe 2 towns over by this point.
And you can't just call 911.
No way, not with him right there, and the gun visible. You don't know how he'll react.
So what's the plan? You're locked in, going the wrong way, with an armed driver.
Desperate situation. Their only thought was the child lock switch itself. If they could somehow reach it from the back seat.
But that means moving, right? Getting closer to him.
Yeah, it meant sliding all the way across the back seat, right behind the driver's head, basically, without him noticing.
That is incredibly risky. Trying to slide over while watching him in the rearview mirror.
They described it as one of the most tense moments of their entire life. Just inching across, praying he wouldn't look up.
Didn't make it across.
Somehow, yes. They managed to slide over behind him without him noticing. but the hardest part was still coming up.
Reaching for that lock switch.
Exactly. Had to wait for another red light. They said the tension was unbearable, passing light after light, hoping for a yellow one, just needing enough time.
And eventually, a light changed.
Yeah, a yellow light at an intersection. Looked like a place that would normally be busy in the daytime. This was their chance.
Their heart must be absolutely hammering now.
Car stops. They know the light won't last long. Took a deep breath, reached their hand up towards the door frame, towards the lit up child lock button.
And the driver saw.
Oh, yeah. The movement startled him so badly, the narrator said he physically jumped like 2 inches out of his seat.
Oh no. What happened then?
He just screamed at them and went for the gun.
Jeez.
But the narrator was quicker. They hit the lock, got the door open, and just bolted out of the car.
Thank God. Just ran.
Ran for their life. They saw a Cadillac Escalade nearby, started banging on the windows, yelling for help.
Did they stop?
Nope. The Escalade just drove off. Didn't want to get involved, I guess.
Wow.
But it didn't really matter at that second because the Uber driver, Alex, he was already gone, just took off down the block.
So the narrator's safe, but alone on the street.
Yeah, they ran straight into a 24-hour grocery store nearby and called a taxi. Said they didn't feel drunk at all anymore. Total adrenaline dump.
I can only imagine. Complete sobriety in seconds.
They reported it all to Uber, of course. Uber said they'd, escalate it to the authorities.
Did anything come of it?
An officer came by about a week later, asked some questions, and that was it. That was the last they ever heard about it.
So they have no idea what happened to Alex, the driver.
Nope. But the impact was huge. The narrator said they have never, ever used Uber again after that night.
I wouldn't blame them. That's absolutely terrifying. What an ordeal from the passenger's perspective.
It really is. And it's shocking, but the danger isn't just one-sided. Our source material also includes a story from the other side of the coin.
Ah, from a driver's perspective this time.
Exactly. A former Uber driver telling their story. They mentioned having dealt with all sorts, drunk people, folks trying to scam free rides.
The usual hassles, maybe?
Yeah, but they said this one particular passenger was different. They called him a straight-up creep.
Okay, that sets a tone.
This happened about 2 years before they shared the story. It was a cold Friday night, December. The driver was young, just 18, described themselves as really skinny, driving a new Honda Accord.
Young driver, new car.
And they mentioned their dad had actually told them to keep a blade in the car, like a knife.
Why?
Because, as his dad put it, you never know what kind of nuts are getting into the car.
Wow. Foreshadowing, maybe?
Seems like it. So a ride request comes in. Guy named Tom. Pickup is a couple miles away near a big shopping area. Driver heads over.
Okay.
When they get near the pickup spot, they see this group of teenagers just hanging out, looking like they might be trouble.
Uh-oh. Hoping that's not Tom.
Right. So the driver, trying to be cautious, actually drives past the spot, deeper into the parking lot, does a couple of laps to avoid the group.
Trying to scope things out.
Yeah. Then they finally see someone walking towards the car from behind in the left mirror, rolls down the window, calls out, "Tom!" The person says yes.
So far, so good, maybe.
Yeah. Well, here's where it gets weird again. The driver tells Tom, "Hop in!" But Tom just stands there. Driver has to say it 3 times.
3 times. That is odd. Just for hop in.
Yeah, the driver noted that even that felt really strange from the very beginning.
Okay.
Finally, on the 4th try, Tom seems to get it, walks slowly around the back of the car, and gets into the seat directly behind the driver.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's unusual. Most people sit diagonally, right?
Yeah.
Gives both people a bit more space, less direct feeling.
Exactly. The driver immediately felt paranoid, said it was unsettling, especially because the guy already seemed kind of creepy.
How did he seem creepy? Besides the slow response.
Driver described him as older, maybe late 40s. The destination he put in was 10 miles away.
And his voice. Anything else?
Yeah, when he spoke, his voice was really rough, like a heavy smoker. And the car apparently started to smell like cigarettes almost immediately.
Okay, unpleasant, but not necessarily dangerous yet.
Right. So the driver tries to make some small talk, break the ice for the 10-mile ride.
How did that go?
Nowhere. Tom would just mumble yes or no, give really dry answers, or at one point, just completely ignored a question. This was all within the first 5 miles or so.
So, awkward silence then.
Pretty much. The driver gave up on the small talk.
And then things escalated.
Yeah, around the 6-mile mark, the driver gets this really uneasy feeling. Felt like Tom was just staring at the back of their head.
Oh, that's unnerving. Could they tell for sure?
They risked a quick glance in the rearview mirror, just half a second. And yeah, confirmed. Tom was just staring intently at them.
Creepy. What did the driver do?
Said their body just instinctively pushed the gas pedal down harder, sped up, just wanted the ride over with faster.
Understandable reaction. Get away from the stair.
Then, around the 8-mile mark, they start noticing where they are.
Where was that?
Basically, the middle of nowhere, a deserted street, woods on both sides, just a few scattered buildings here and there, looking empty.
Not good. Getting isolated.
Exactly. The suspicion really kicks in now. The driver checks the address on their phone again while driving.
And the map showed.
It showed the destination address was on a dead-end street, with literally no other streets or buildings anywhere nearby, just woods.
Oh, wow. Okay, alarm bells should be ringing loud now.
Definitely. The driver said they got more and more nervous with every minute. Glanced back in the mirror again, Tom still staring.
Jeez. Did the driver say anything?
Yeah, they worked up the nerve to ask, "Hey, is this address? Is that your house?"
And Tom's response.
Silence. Like a really noticeable 5-second silence. Then, just very quietly, he answers, "Yes."
That silence is chilling. Just, yes. Doesn't sound convincing.
Not at all. So now they're less than a mile away, still surrounded by woods, maybe the odd empty-looking building. Driver approaches the turn for the dead-end street.
What are they thinking? Hoping maybe there's a house tucked away.
Desperately hoping houses would appear, they slowed down as they got to the turn, looked down the street. Nothing. Just pitch blackness. Exactly like the map showed. Just woods, no houses, no lights, nothing.
Okay, this is clearly a setup for something bad. An isolated, dark, dead end.
The driver knew it. They could only imagine why Tom wanted them to drive out there.
What did they do? Did they turn?
They tried something clever first. They pretended they missed the turn. Just kept driving straight past it, hoping Tom wouldn't say anything.
Did it work?
Nope. Tom reacted instantly. The driver said he practically hopped out of his seat in the back and yelled, "Hey, turn around, you missed it!"
Aggressive reaction. Okay, the pretense is over.
Yeah. The driver felt like their life was literally on the line now. Said sorry, did a quick 3-point turn, and headed back towards that dark, dead end.
Oh, man. Driving back towards the danger.
But as they were turning, as they headed back, they remembered their dad's advice.
The blade.
The blade. Reached down to that netting compartment on the side of the driver's seat where they kept it. Very quietly managed to flick it open. Held it tight in their right hand, hidden, but ready.
Smart. Prepared for the worst.
Turned onto the dead-end road again. Headlights, just illuminated trees on both sides. Drove all the way to the end. Still nothing. No buildings, no houses. Just the end of the road and woods.
The driver must have been terrified. Just waiting.
Absolutely. Knew something was about to go down. Trying to brace themselves mentally or physically.
And then Tom speaks.
Yeah. Suddenly his voice changes. Softly. As soft as he probably could manage. He says, "Thanks for the ride."
Like it's just a normal drop-off.
Exactly. The driver wasn't even thinking about the fare, obviously. Tom opens his back door, but then stops. He doesn't get out yet.
What does he do?
He makes a request. He says, "Could you get out of the car for a second?
Why?
I need help carrying my bag. I have a bad back."
Whoa. Okay, but did he even have a bag?
That's the key thing. The source notes, he didn't have a bag when he got in the car earlier.
Right, so that's a total lie. It's a classic manipulation tactic. Create a plausible, harmless-sounding reason to lure the victim out of the safety of the car. Get them into the vulnerable, dark, isolated space with him.
Exactly. The driver knew it was BS, but what could they say? They responded, voice shaking, yeah, sure, just let yourself out and I'll help you in a sec. The shakiness was obvious.
Trying to buy a moment, maybe?
Maybe. But what happened next? The driver said they never ever imagined it would happen like this.
What?
All of a sudden, just intense pressure on their neck, from behind. Realized Tom was choking them from the back seat.
Oh my God. He attacked from inside the car.
Yes. While still partly in the car, reached over the seat and started choking the driver.
But the driver had the blade ready.
Instinct took over. Survival mode. They just drilled the blade as hard as they could into Tom's left arm.
Direct reaction. Did it work?
Tom screamed, like a real scream of pain, instantly let go of the driver's neck.
And fell out.
Yeah, he stumbled or fell out of the open back door onto the street.
And the driver.
Didn't hesitate. Seized that split second. Threw the car into reverse or turn it, spun around and just floored it. Practically floored it, back down that dead-end street. Didn't stop until they hit a busy, well-lit road again.
Got away. Just barely. Wow.
Unbelievably close call.
Did they call the police this time? Report the assault?
Actually, no. The driver said they were just too scared. Didn't report it. Drove straight home. All they wanted to do was get home, go to sleep, and try to forget the whole thing ever happened.
That's understandable, too, after such a violent trauma, just wanting it to be over.
Yeah. And needless to say, just like the passenger in the first story,
They stopped driving for Uber after that.
immediately resigned right away, never drove again.
Two incredibly intense stories.
Yeah.
Coming from completely different perspectives, passenger and driver, yet sharing some disturbing common threads.
Absolutely. So when you put these side by side, what really jumps out? What connects them for you, for the listener?
Well, what strikes me is how, in both cases, things go from just kind of weird or uncomfortable.
Yeah, like the creepy photo or the guy not getting in the car.
Right, from that initial unease to full-blown terror really fast. And it often hinges on noticing one specific, crucial detail.
That's so true. For the passenger, it was seeing the gun and then realizing the child lock was on. That changed everything.
And for the driver, it was checking the map, seeing that isolated dead end, and then realizing Tom's story about needing help with a bag he didn't have was a complete lie.
That observation part is critical. You have to be aware of your surroundings, the situation, the person.
And notice how isolation plays a key role in both. The passenger being deliberately driven off route to unfamiliar, quieter areas.
Yeah, 2 towns over, they thought.
And the driver being specifically directed to that pitch black dead-end street with no one around. It feels like a deliberate tactic to remove potential witnesses or help.
Definitely. And that feeling of being trapped is huge in both accounts, isn't it?
Absolutely. The child lock literally trapping the passenger. The driver feeling trapped at the end of that dead road, knowing something bad was imminent.
It really strips away that feeling of control you think you have when you just tap a button on an app.
Exactly. It's a stark reminder that, yeah, the app makes it convenient, but when things go wrong, your safety can depend entirely on, like you said, noticing small things, thinking fast, and your own actions.
The passenger having to flick the lock, the driver having to use the blade they luckily had. The app didn't save them.
Not at all. Their own resourcefulness and quick reactions did. And you also see that element of manipulation, trying to create a false sense of security or reason.
Like the driver offering a discount for the quick stop.
Or Tom asking for help with his non-existent bag because of his bad back. Recognizing those kinds of manipulative tactics is so important. Is this person trying to get me to lower my guard? Or move me somewhere else?
Yeah, and the aftermath, too. Both people were so deeply affected.
Huge psychological impact. Neither one could go back to using or providing the service. These weren't just bad experiences.
Yeah.
They were genuinely traumatic.
For sure. Now, obviously, these are extreme, terrifying examples. Most rides are perfectly fine.
Of course, millions of uneventful rides happen every day.
But these stories really drive home the need for just basic safety awareness, trusting your gut whenever you're interacting with strangers, really, whether it's through an app or not.
Yeah. Thinking about these accounts, what really stands out to you listening right now? What aspect of personal safety in these situations resonates most?
It's a heavy question. For me, maybe it's about that hidden vulnerability. How much trust we place in these systems, these everyday conveniences, without maybe fully considering the potential risks, however rare.
That's a really potent thought. The vulnerabilities hidden within convenience.
Something to definitely keep in mind. Well, thank you for joining us for this.
Whoa.
This intense deep dive into these accounts. We hope it gave you something to think about.
Stay aware and stay safe out there.